Joining me right now is Trinamool Member of Parliament, Ms. Mahua Moitra, who was one of the first, in fact, to flag yesterday concerns about privacy and the sensitivity of the data on her phone because she'd received threat notifications, as many other members of the opposition, from Apple saying that state-sponsored attackers are targeting your device's security. Today, of course, you've written to the Lok Sabha Speaker about it. What are you demanding from the Lok Sabha Speaker? How do you want him to look into it?
We are ultimately members of parliament, and we as opposition members of parliament, they say the house belongs to the opposition. So our rights and privileges have to be seen too. The Speaker of the Lok Sabha, the Honourable Speaker, is the ultimate guardian. He's all of our guardians. So he has to look into this. This is a serious breach of privilege. It is three things. Number one, it is a breach of our constitutional freedoms, which is a fundamental right for all of us. The second is it is against the spirit of Indian democracy and the Houses of Parliament, because the opposition and voices of dissent are completely necessary for Indian democracy. And the third is this is illegal and violates the law of the land, and also it is in complete breach of our privileges as MPs. So that's what we've written. That's what I've written to the Lok Sabha, and I've told him that this had also happened during 19 to 2021 when Pegasus, which is sold only to governments, had been used against members of the opposition, against members of civil society, against journalists, and in spite of raising the issue, no debate had been allowed in the House, and no conclusive report has even been provided to us till today on Pegasus. So in light of that, I just wanted to flag it and say that we need protection from this illegal remote compromising of our devices, where you can even put in fabricated evidence. We've seen people coming in and putting in fabricated evidence and people getting arrested and spending years in jail, innocent citizens, on the basis of fabricated evidence. So it's very important that we be protected against this.
You know, the government has said yesterday that they will be conducting an inquiry into this. They do take seriously any such concerns that are raised by parliamentarians, of course. But you and many others, of course, suggested that these state-sponsored attackers could be the government itself or government agencies at a time that Apple did not specify. Apple said we cannot specify exactly who these state-sponsored attackers are.
When they say state-sponsored, that's what it means. That's exactly what it means. They're very well-funded. They're sophisticated. Apple obviously will not name and say whether it's the Ministry of Home Affairs or whether it's the PMO. That's not Apple's job. But the very term state-sponsored, and if you see Citizens Access Now and Citizen Lab, which in September 2023 also said that Apple's threat, the threat notification that they get is extremely credible. And they've matched it up in Russia, and they've said that this is completely correct, number one. The second thing here is that if you see Pegasus was made by the Israeli firm NSO and is sold specifically only to governments. There is no way private agencies could possibly use Pegasus on opposition members of parliament like Shri Abhishek Banerjee, who's our National General Secretary. So the second thing is the fact that it's state-sponsored is very clear. This has happened before, and the spyware that is being used is state-sponsored. That is also very clear, like Pegasus. The Financial Times in March 23 had a report that said that the Indian government's budget for spyware allocation, surveillance allocation, has gone up to about US dollars 120 million, and they're also getting contracts from people like Intellexa, which have been named in the Predator report. So I think with all of this information, to suggest that this is not state-sponsored and that somehow private agencies or some random hackers are only targeting members of parliament is, I think, a bit ludicrous.
No, but also Apple did mention that these sort of threat notifications went out to users and their devices across 100 different countries, Uganda, Armenia, elsewhere as well.
That's exactly the question. Do we want to be Uganda and Armenia? Are Uganda and Armenia the beacons of democracy held up the world over? What are Uganda and Armenia? What is Uganda known for? Idi Amin. What is Armenia known for? The genocide. So what are we talking about? Are these the democratic pillars that Indian democracy needs to measure itself up to? Of course it's gone out to 100 countries because that's probably the number of countries where democracy is muzzled. We are India. We're the greatest democracy in the world. We are the voice of the opposition in India. Are we going to compare ourselves with banana republics all over the world? I mean,
no, but then, for instance, also you've mentioned this in your, letter to the Speaker as well. Today, of course, the BJP is imputing a big sinister design as far as these claims made by members of the opposition are concerned. They're saying that billionaire George Soros, who is anti-Modi, anti-Hindutva, anti-BJP, has some sort of links to these threat notifications that Apple sent out to you. You've also quoted from, of course, Access Now as well, Access Now being the organization that they're pointing towards. How do you see that? Because they're saying that there seems to be some bigger plot.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a bigger plot. I mean, and given that Mr. Modi and Mr. Adani are running the biggest plot and the biggest con job on the people of this country that we have to be aware of, I think these sort of, counter accusations by the BJP make me laugh. They honestly make me laugh. So I think the fact is that members of opposition have received this. These are credible threats from Apple. Now, if he's going to say Soros controls Apple, that's all I can say.
But Access now is being quoted by
Access
Apple,
now is only one of organizations. There's Citizen Lab, there's the Financial Times. There's only one organization, and even if it's funded by Soros, so what? Right? So what? It is a credible organization that backs it up. And it is Apple that is sending out the notification. It is Apple that is sending out the notification. Apple devices are supposed to be the most secure in the world. They constantly update their technology to be able to protect their users. And iPhone is supposed to be one of the most secure devices that people can't hack into. So when Apple comes and tells you that there's an attempt to hack into your device, I think Apple's speaking the truth. So I don't think that, a little BJP malware cell sitting somewhere and putting out these ridiculous claims owes any credence.
No, but Apple has also said, Mahua, final question, Apple has also said that these could be false alarms, that these threat intelligence signals are sometimes incomplete.
That's not correct. That is actually not correct that there could be false alarms. That is a fake post that is being put out.
It's on the website. I've read the website. I've read the document on the website.
I think when you have technology, there's obviously 0.0001% chance, but I don't think Apple, being what it is, would send out something which has a 99. It would send out something only if there were a greater than a 90% probability of it being correct. And I think that is something that we all need to worry about, especially given Pegasus has already been used. I mean, what are we looking at? Are we looking at the BJP government as this beacon of democracy?
No, I'm not contesting you raising an alarm about it, having concerns. No, the question is about imputing motive to the government directly before an inquiry.
I'm sorry. What motive would a government? Obviously, the BJP government. I mean, this is a peeping Tom government. They've done this in Gujarat before they've come to Delhi. It has been proven they have used Pegasus in the years 2019 to 2021, including on our National General Secretary, on Rahul Gandhi, on so many members of the opposition. So do you think this government has any credibility? And why am I being targeted? Why is Priyanka Chaturvedi being targeted? Why is Akhilesh Yadav being targeted? Why is Raghav Chadha being targeted? Why are these all opposition members being targeted? Why are Siddharth Varadarajan of the Wire being targeted? So anyone who writes something against the government, who speaks up against the government, is being targeted. So in our world, 2 + 2 = 4.
Final question, but there are others. I have to go. Final question, but there are others who are outside of public life as well, who also have received these.
Who are absolutely.
Samir Saran.
Yes, exactly. So I think it's what come out as, I would say, there's also this OPCCR, what's the name of that firm, which has written an anti-Adani report. So any sort of I would say what we call public spirited citizens. So any journalists who dissent, there are very few of them left in this country. So dissenting journalists. Citizens who speak out against the government, anything to create this atmosphere of fear. That's what surveillance does. I mean, that's what George Orwell wrote in 1984, and that's what we're seeing today.
Right. Thank you. Mahua Moitra, thank you so much for speaking to India today. That, of course, was Ms. Mahua Moitra, who's written, Nabila, to the Lok Sabha Speaker as well, raising her concerns after she received these threat notifications from Apple on her device, as did many other members of the opposition.